Hey, Facebook Live, YouTube, Periscope, what's going on, you guys? Listen, whether you're watching this live or you're watching the replay, I wanted to take a moment this morning to come in and share some things with you. So I want to invite you guys on in the room. Come on in and let's talk about it. Come on in and let's talk about it. I am super excited to be with you guys this morning. I believe that every day that we have an opportunity to share ourselves with the world is a day that God is glorified. And so today I want to make sure that God is glorified and that I am doing exactly what it is that He would desire for me to do. So, you guys come on in. Let me know who's in and where you're tuning in from. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I want to talk about it, talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. Come on, y'all, let's talk about it. It's important to talk about it. Let me tell y'all something. A lot of times things will be going on in our lives and we don't have a place to talk about it. So I want to give you guys an opportunity, a platform, a venue for us to really have a conversation about some things that are going on in the world, in our lives, and how we can maximize our presence in the earth. Like that is super important. So you guys come on, come on, come on. Let somebody know Dr. V is live. Come on and tell somebody. Great morning, you guys. Great morning, great morning. While you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to share this broadcast. I encourage you to do the same. Who's here? Who's here with me? Let me know who's in the virtual building. Let me share, share, share. All right, all right. So, you guys, listen, I was thinking about life and what's going on in life and how life is happening to us and for us and all of those great things. And I wanted to come on and share with you guys because, listen, I'm a firm believer that, there are no accidents when it comes to God. There are no accidents, that all things that happen for a reason. And that even in the midst of the turmoil of our lives, God desires to create a situation where He's glorified and He gets the glory. And so, as you are thinking about your life on today, as you're thinking about what's going on in your world, in your realm, I need you to understand that there are some things that God is doing and He's doing them strategically. Now, you may not see it all right now, you may not get it all right now, but I'm telling you, God is up to something. He's up to something that can blow your mind. He's up to something that can change your life. He is literally up to something. Hold on one second. I need to share one more time. So, as we are on this journey called life, and as we are moving, and as we are discovering the beauty of what God is doing, there's some things that have to happen in our lives and for our lives. What are those things, Dr. V? Well, one of the things is that we've got to stop focusing on the problem and focus on the promise. We've got to focus on the promise and not on the problem. See, whatever you focus on grows. Whatever you put your energy towards, you draw towards you. Whatever you glorify, elevate, um, discuss the most, right? That's what comes in your life. Have you ever been in a situation where you say, I hope such and such doesn't happen? And you keep saying it and you keep saying it and you keep saying it. And sure enough, it happens. And you say, see, I knew that was going to happen. Well, it happened because you spoke it into existence. You brought it into your life. You brought it into your realm. You have the ability. I have the ability. We have the ability to create the life that we desire. That means that instead of focusing on sickness, we focus on health and being well and being made whole. Speaking of which, while I'm talking about it, let me go ahead and take my vitamin. So you want to make sure that what you're doing in your life, what you're focusing on, what you're talking about, what you're lifting, what you're elevating, you want to make sure that those are positive things and the things that you actually want in your life and not the things that you don't. You see, for me, I'm determined in this season. to have all of the promises of God that he has made for me. Everything he said he would do, I want it. Everything he said I could have, I want it. I am not willing to settle for anything less than the promises of God in this season. So what does that mean? It means that I'm focused on the promise. What has God promised you? What has he promised you? What has he told you that he wanted to do in your life, that he wanted to do for you, that he wanted to do in you? Well, that's what you need to talk about. That's what you need to focus on. That's where you need to put your attention. Put your attention right there. For me, as I think about my amazing life, I found myself thinking about my family. So, like, I absolutely love my family. I was talking about my kids the other day, and I was saying how much I love them, how much I love my kids, how amazing our family is, and what has been happening for us and in our lives. And that is awe-inspiring to me, because I remember a time when our family was very fractured. And so for us to be in a place where, we're talking, enjoying each other, laughing, and building a life together, like, is a huge deal. So now when my kids and I get on and we're FaceTiming or we're on video messenger and we're all talking and the grandbabies are on and everybody is having a good time, and, we're just celebrating life, I'm reminded that that's what I prayed for. That's what I sought from God. Like, I can literally remember saying, God, this is what I want. And now I'm creating that. And I'm not done creating, because listen, there's some things that my family is getting ready to create that's going to actually change a lot of lives. And so as I'm moving towards that, as I'm making those decisions, as I am seeking the face of God in it, like, I celebrate and I'm grateful and I'm thankful. And that gratitude takes you a long way. You got to believe. You got to believe, and you've got to be grateful for the outcome before the outcome shows up. You got to believe, and you got to thank God for the promise before the promise shows up. You got to believe, and you got to put the work in. You got to go to work. You got to do the work. You got to do what God has called you to do. You got to believe, and then you got to stand on the promises of God, even when it doesn't look like it, even when it doesn't feel like it, even when it doesn't seem like it. You've got to believe, and you've got to continue on your journey. Now, for some of you, you may say, Dr. V, yeah, that sounds good. I hear you, but, that works for you. No, it works for all who will use it, right? And this is the crazy thing, because I need y'all to understand how powerful the promises of God are. You don't even have to believe in God for his promises and principles to work in your life. Now, that's crazy, right? It would seem like God would say, hey, well, this is only going to work for my people. No, it works for whosoever uses it, whosoever taps in, whosoever goes to work. Like, it literally works for anyone. That's why you see the people in the world manifesting things in their life that the children of God don't. What is that? Well, listen. They may not believe in everything the Bible says. They may not believe even in God, but they understand that there are principles and spiritual laws that exist, and these laws produce, right? And so because they understand that, they operate in that. When a lot of times in the church, not only do we not believe the word of God, and when I say believe, I want you to hear what I'm saying. When I say we don't believe it to the point where we will put it on the line, that we will lay it out there, that we will stand on it. Oh, we'll say it. Well, the word of God says that my father owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. But will you go get the cattle? See, that's what determines whether you believe or not whether you say it or not, but whether you actually will go and get whatever it is that God has promised you. God has promised me health. See, when I say I love you to life and life more abundant, that includes health. That includes abundant health. The Apostle Paul said it like this: I wish above all things that you would prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. If that's the case, if that was his desire for the people of God, why is it that we still have so much sickness in the church? Why is it that the church runs rampant with problems with obesity, high blood pressure, diabetes, you name it, anxiety, you name it, it's running rampant in the church? Why is that? Because the people of God have not appropriated the promises of God. We've not appropriated the promises of God in the way that it produces results in our life. Now, that's harsh. I know it's harsh, but it's true. It's harsh, but it's true. There's some things that God wants to do in your life, but He is not going to do it against your will. He's not going to force you to do it, right? He's going to create situations, He maneuver things, set things up, situations so that you can do it. But at the end of the day, you have free choice. You have free will. I never want to be in a relationship where I don't have choices. I need choices in my life. The moment I start to feel like you've taken away all my choices, I'm done, right? I want choices in my life. Give me the opportunity to choose. I choose God. I chose Christianity. Like it wasn't like it just, this is what someone said I have to be. No, I chose this life. Why did I choose it? I looked at other religions. I explored other religions, but I chose Christianity because it was the religion that fit me. It was what connected with me. It was what I resonated with. Does it mean that I'm putting down everybody else? No, I believe everyone has a right to choose. See, we want to take choices away. And then we're surprised when people begin to act out. When you feel like you're backed in a corner, the natural thing to do is to come out swinging. It's either fight or flight. You're going to come out swinging or you're going to run. It's one of those two things. That's it. That's what's going to happen. And so, unfortunately, we put people in situations where, they're like, okay, hey, listen, I'm gonna come out swinging. What you want? What you want? This is what you want. This is what you're getting. So understand that when God positions you, when God gives you a promise and He positions you. So first there's the positioning, there's the promise, then there's the positioning, and then the promise, the position, and then guess what happens? You've got to perform the things that God has called you to do. Promise, position, performance. And then you see the manifestation of the promise. It shows up. But there's stuff that you got to do. So today, I want to encourage you to focus on the promise. God has promised me some stuff, and I'm focused on that promise. Listen, are there problems? Yeah, sure there are, right? There's always something going on. There are always problems. There are always issues, right? But that's not the focus, and it can't be your focus. Because the moment you make it your focus, then you are off center. Last night, we did a team training. Listen, when I tell y'all that I'm super excited to be in business with game changers, right? I'm super excited to be in business with game changers. And let me tell you why. I believe that every relationship in our life has purpose, right? Or at least it should. Every relationship in our life has purpose, or at least it should. And one of the things that I know about me is I need people in my life that are positive, that are forward looking, that are visionaries, that are doing things to make change, and they do what they say. I need that. Listen, so therefore, I'm excited to be in business with people that when we come together, that's what we do. That's what we do. So that's what we do. So last night we had a team training, and the BAM bosses are absolutely no joke. When I tell y'all that we're no joke, we're no joke. I need y'all to keep your eyes open. If you're not connected to us and you're looking for a way to really begin to build your personal development, build a business on the side, you need to connect with us, because I'm telling you, there's some things that God is doing in the midst of all that's going on, and it's a game changer. So guess what? So we had a meeting last night and we were talking about belief. Sharita Leon was training. She was talking about belief, right? She was talking about belief, what belief is, what belief does. Like there's this whole training on belief, right? And I'm going to tell y'all something. If you're stuck, y'all are not going to like me after this, and it's going to be okay with me, but I'm going to tell y'all anyway. If you're stuck and you're in a position where your life is not what you want it to be, like it is not what you want it to be. Like when you look at your life, you say, this is not my life. If you look at your situation and say, this can't be it. Like there's got to be more. If you're in a situation like that, then let me tell you something. Y'all ready? It's your fault. It's your fault you're in that place. The place that you're in is the direct result of decisions that you've made previously. So if you don't like that place, then it's time to make some decisions to move you to where it is that you desire to be. Y'all heard me right. I said it's your fault. I get it. I get it. I get it. There's a whole pandemic. There are all these things that have happened. You were sick. You didn't make the money that you normally made. Like you can talk about all of this stuff, but listen to me. Listen to me. It's still your fault. The moment you take ownership of that, the moment you take ownership of, this is not my life. This is not what I want. The moment you did, and this is my fault. This is my fault, right? Regardless of what anyone else has done, right? It's my fault because I made decisions that put me here or kept me here, right? It's my fault, okay? The moment you do that, then you open the door for God to assist you in changing the situation. What do you mean, Dr. V? If it's your fault that you where you are, then you can change where you are by making the same thing that you did in the past, a decision. When you make a decision to change where you are, when you make a decision to change your life, and then you put the decision to work, you put feet to the decision, then you are able to create the life you desire. I've been looking at my life and some things I don't like about it. I'm changing them. It's my fault. It's my fault. Did y'all hear that? That's called ownership. Unfortunately, too many people will not take ownership for their choices and the outcomes. I'm not one of them. I can take total ownership of everything that I do. Everything I do, everything I say. If I did it, I did it. If I said it, I said it. It is what it is. I own what I do. I own my decisions. I own my choices. They belong to me. And as a result, the consequences of them belong to me. The results of them belong to me. And if by chance you're affected by one of my decisions, right? You have to own that you allow yourself to be affected. And if you don't want to be affected by it, then you make a change. It's that simple, you guys. We spend so much time complicating and overcomplicating life, decisions, relationships, business, choices. We overcomplicate it. But I'm a firm believer that when you take responsibility for where you are, and then you decide that you're going to focus on the promise, and you decide that you're ready to change what's going on in your life, you will do that. People ask me all the time, they say, Dr. V, like, how is it that you are so resilient? How is it that you keep moving? How is it that you do that? Because I own my choices. I own my choices. I own my relationships. I own my decisions. I own my actions. I own my words. I own my emotions. I own my mentality. I own it. I own what I don't do and what I've not done. I own it. And after I own it, I can say, okay, if this is what I did and this is my result, do I like that result? Do I like that feeling? Do I like that mindset that's coming with that? Do I like the physical outcome of this? Do I like it? And if I don't like it, the fact that I owned it means I have the authority to change it. Now, I don't know what it is that you need to change. I don't know what it is that God has promised you that you've not seen manifested. I don't know, but I know for me, God promised me that not only would I be a multimillionaire, but that I would produce millionaires. And it's not happened. And the fact that it's not happened, I own that. There are choices and decisions that I've made that have put me in the place where I am. And guess what? I made a decision to change it. Now, listen, making those kinds of decisions are not easy, but it's necessary. And I promise you this, when you make a decision and you say, God, listen, I want everything that you promised me, and I'm willing to make the necessary decisions and choices. I'm willing to make the necessary changes in my life. I'm willing to do whatever it is that I need to do to get to where it is that you need me to be, God. I'm willing to do that. When you make that decision, then God will move on your behalf. But when you got one foot in, one foot out, when you keep making the same bad decisions over and over and over again, I don't want you to be surprised that you haven't achieved the promise that God made you. I don't want you to be shocked by that, because you don't have to be a prophet to see that. You simply have to be someone with your eyes open, right? Today, what are you doing? What are you doing? If God said that you're going to be a millionaire, what are you doing that's going to position you to be a millionaire? Oh, you working your job? Okay. I haven't seen jobs that do that yet. Not even necessarily for CEOs. Come on, you guys. Listen, what are you doing to position yourself to be a millionaire, to get out of debt, to be in a position to have the financial security that you desire? And is it working? Is it working? Are you working it, or is it working you? What's going on? See, and I don't want y'all to brag. I don't care if y'all, I don't want y'all to think I'm bragging. I don't care if you do think I'm bragging, but it's just the truth. Let me tell y'all something. When God gave me the vision for the way, the Walters Academy for Entrepreneurship, a private school serving 6th through 12th grade, right? To teach kids how to be entrepreneurs, to give them the growth mindset that entrepreneurs need, to help them to understand how to create daily habits and patterns and set goals and accomplish them, to give them the mindset that, you don't have to wait for someone to give you permission to be great. You're great already. To understand that wealth, true wealth, does not come from education in the traditional formal sense of the word. For all of my educated friends, and I'm educated, I have a freaking earned PhD. I get it. That's not my wealth, where my wealth is coming from. In fact, that's where a chunk of my money goes, because I'm 6 figures in debt as a result of getting my PhD. Great. People can call me doctor. Great. I have a PhD. That's great. I believe that it was the will of God for me to get it. But let me tell you something. When I talk to my children about education, when I talk to my children about life, I'm very clear with them. Listen, there's nothing wrong with getting an education. It's great. Know what you're going to do with it. Don't just go get a degree to get a degree. Know what you're going to do with that degree. You make wise decisions. Don't just go into a lot of debt to have a degree that you can't use, and then you're in debt with a degree you can't use working a job. You could have worked with a high school diploma, and you could have been building a business that really is your passion. You could have been doing something that you're passionate about, that is your purpose. But no, we're afraid of purpose and we're afraid of passion, because we've been taught that it's more important to have just basic financial security, the security of someone else giving you money, than the security of creating your own money, your own wealth. That's what we've been taught. Now, when you accept that and you buy that and you believe that and you function in that and that alone, then you find yourself in a place where you're on a hamster wheel, spinning out of control, just rolling, running the same rat race. You go to work, get a check, pay your bills. Go to work, get a check, pay your bills. Go to work, get a check, pay your bills. Go to work, get a check, pay your bills, until something traumatic happens in your life or in your family. And then you go to work, get a check, pay the bills. Wait, I can't work. I don't get a check. I can't pay my bills. Now everything is shifted. That's why entrepreneurship is key. That's why you need to have something on the side. There's a song I just watched, American Soul, and there's a song that the Pointer Sisters sang. I bet you got a chick on the side. I know you got a chick on the side. The way some of you guys have side chicks, you need to have a side gig. Your business that you are building up. And so in that way, you're building for your family's future. Jim Rohn said, I work full time on my job and part time on my fortune. You need to be working on your fortune. You need to stop hitching everything to other people, other people's visions. You build other people's vision. You make their vision great. You make them tons of money. That's great for them. But what does it do for you? What does it do for your family? What does it do for legacy? God has promised me. Hear me. God has promised me that I would make an impact on the world and I would create a legacy that would cause my name to be spoken for generations to come. That when my children do the genealogy, when my grandchildren do the genealogy, when my great-grandchildren do the genealogy, I show up. And I show up as a force that created change in the world. Listen. Listen to me. What is it that God has promised you? And what are you doing to attain the promise? Or are you so busy focused on the problem that you're missing the promise? Are you so busy focused on the issues, on the challenges, on how it's not fair, on the pandemic, on coronavirus, on what's going on in government, on what Trump said now, on all of these things that you are missing the promise? Y'all better stop giving Trump all y'all's energy. Some of y'all give that man so much of your energy that you don't have the energy to really do what God has called you to do, and that is attain the promise. But you can say everything Trump said, every place Trump's been, everything idiotic that has happened and that he has done or said. Like, let me tell y'all something. I don't have the time, the energy, nor the desire to focus on President Trump. I don't. You know what I have the desire, focus, and tenacity to focus on? Making sure that no matter what idiotic decision is made, I'm securing my own bag and I'm not dependent on the policies or the gifts of the government to get me through. Do y'all understand that? That's right, Quincy. Entrepreneurship is key. And then check this out. People want to act like entrepreneurship is new. It ain't new. Especially not in the Black community. Entrepreneurship is not new. Listen, I don't know if y'all remember, but all you got to do is look back in your little neighborhood, wherever you grew up. You could have grown up in a small town. You could have grown up in a big city. I don't care where you grew up. But I don't know, if you look in your family, you probably will find some entrepreneurs. Listen, I can remember my great-grandmother. My great-grandmother made hot tamales. Hot tamales, baby. She made the best hot tamales in the city. She made the best hot tamales in the city. She would make her hot tamales and she would sell them $3 a dozen. People would come and buy her hot tamales. She would freeze them. People would steam them. They would eat those hot tamales. They would want some more hot tamales. So she would have spurts where she would make hot tamales, right? So she made hot tamales. My grandmother, on my mom's side, she did cleaning. She did cleaning. She would go in, she would clean people's houses. At one point, she was cleaning a hotel. Like, she would clean. That was her entrepreneurship. My grandfather worked at a concrete paving company, but then he also did stuff on the side, right? Because he knew that in order for him to do everything he needed to do for his family, he had to do more than just have a job. Listen, entrepreneurship is in my blood. It's in my blood and it's in my children's blood. And let me tell you something, it's in the blood that has been spilled on this soil for centuries. Do you hear me when I'm telling you this? It is in the blood that has been spilled in this soil that has made this soil rich, that has grown this nation to be the nation that it currently is. When you look at the great things in this nation, know that our blood has gone into it. So am I tossing the whole nation away? I absolutely am not tossing away, because it's too much of our blood that has been built to build it. And so instead, what I'm going to do is figure out, what do I need to do to help produce change in this world? What do I need to do? What can I do? What gifts, what talents, what skills do I bring to bear that can help create change in this world? Because there is a promise that I have yet to appropriate, and I'm going to appropriate the promises of God in my life. What can I do? Not what can the president do, or Senate, or the mayor, or the governor, or no, not what can I do? And I double dog dare you to ask yourself the question, what can I do to change my situation? I'm real clear about some things. And one of the things I'm real clear about is I don't lose. I don't lose. It may look like I took a L, but baby, it wasn't no L for real. What may seem to be a temporary loss, baby, I always find a way to turn it into a win. Always, always, always. Why? Is it because, well, Dr. V, you can do that because it's you. No, I can do it because I choose to. I choose to not give up. I choose to not stand on the sideline and just watch other people make major moves and not do anything. That's right, Quincy. Be your own president, your own CEO, your own business person, your own boss. Absolutely. And let's win together. Quincy's one of our business partners in Canada. Now, let me tell you something. The company launched in Canada, and we had some challenges, whatever, and they had to make a decision. See, this is why you got to be a boss. They had to make a decision. So what they decided to do was they decided to officially launch Canada August 1st, right? Officially launching Canada August 1st. You know what Quincy did? Quincy secured his position, helped other people secure their position, began to rank up so that he can take full advantage of the official launch of the company in Canada. But do you know what that means? Like, there's very little that should happen in his region that he should not be a part of overriding. You understand? And that's the thing. You've got to be able to see beyond the right now. We get so caught up in right now. We get so caught up in right now. Right now, I don't have no money. Right now, I don't feel good. Right now, my relationship's bad. Right now, my kids are acting up. Right now, this. Right now, I can't go in the church building. Right now, I can't do this. Right now, I can't do that. Listen, you worried about the wrong thing. In the right now, when you can't do all the things that you normally do, that's the time for you to plan and begin to put things in place that you can execute. It's your time to be innovative, your time to be creative. Right now is the time to be creative. Right now is the time that millionaires and billionaires will be made. Right now, in the midst of a pandemic and a recession, is the time that it's going to happen. Why? Because there are going to be people who are going to say, hey, I'm getting ready to put things in place. Oh, this is going to be needed. Oh, I need to position myself there. Oh, well, what can we do to change this? What can we create? What can we produce? And those will be the people, the ones who didn't spend their time focused on what they couldn't do, but those that took the time to start to build and plan and strategize and go to work and adapt and pivot. Those are the ones who will be the billionaires and millionaires that will take this time and use it not as a negative, but as a launching pad, as a springboard to their destiny. And I'm one of them. Are you? Are you going to be one of the people that takes this time and uses this time to position yourself to be a millionaire, a billionaire? Would that be you? Will you be the one that takes this time that you can't do all this going out to get your health together, to secure the bag, to make sure you're addressing the things that you normally don't address because you don't have time to address them? Now that you have some time, what are you doing with it? I don't know if you guys have been following my fitness journey, but it's real. Like, this whole health thing is real for me because, listen, I'm going to share some things with you guys that I really don't talk about. Like, I really don't talk about it. And I don't talk about it so much that sometimes I forget that it even exists, right? So in about 2000, I've been having health challenges off and on throughout, right? But people never think that I have health challenges because I don't act like I have health challenges. Like, you know, hey, there things happen, but I tend to keep moving, right? Um, in 96, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is this myriad of things, right? Which explain why I kept having all these different things that were going on with my body. And I'm like, I don't understand this. I don't get this, right? I was diagnosed in 96. They put me on steroids. I blew up. I was about a size 18, almost a size 20 at one point from a size 3. Like I literally was down to a size 3. After 2 children, I was a size 3. Okay. Um, that totally changed like my being, my existence, because I was not used to having all that weight on me. Now let's fast forward about 2000 something. I started having these mini strokes. I would have a series of mini strokes where my body would go numb on one side, and I wouldn't know what was going on. I couldn't speak. I couldn't move. Like I was having these mini strokes, right? They didn't know what was going on. They said it was just stress. You're just stressed. I'm like, I'm a Black person in America and a Black woman at that. Of course, I have stress, but I've learned to live with stress, right? I can live with high amounts of stress. And that's not my goal, but I've learned how to function like that because things don't just go away. So let's go on this little journey. They found a hole in my heart. They found a hole in my heart. I guess in about 2008, they found a hole in my heart, and they went in to repair the hole. They went in through the vein in my leg, and they had a device that they entered to close up the hole. The device was good up to 12 millimeters. The hole was 12 millimeters exactly. If it was a millimeter larger, they would have had to crack open my chest and perform open heart surgery on me. Okay. So they closed the hole in my heart, right? While they were doing all this, while they were running all these tests, the doctors were doing CT scans. And they told me, you have an aneurysm on your brain. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with aneurysms, but aneurysms are like balloons in the veins of your brain, right? They're like balloons. It's a place where it stretches and more blood flows there, right? And I was like, no, I don't. And they were like, you may need to have brain surgery. No, I don't. No, you won't. No, we're not. Okay. The crazy thing is that even if I had the surgery, they were going to have to do 2 things, right? Because the aneurysm was right at the crease of um, some veins, right? So it ballooned right in the middle. So it wasn't like they could just clamp one side. We'd have to do like 2 clamp procedure, something they were talking about. No, what we're not getting ready to do is that. That's what we're not going to do. So I made a decision. I made the decision not to really talk about it. I didn't really tell my family. I didn't really nobody really knew, right? And so I would forget about it. And then, something would happen. I'd be like, oh, okay, But why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because if you look at me and you look at my work ethic and you look how I show up and you look at how I go hard, you probably would never guess that I had series of mini strokes, that I'd had a device put in my heart, that I had problems with fibromyalgia, that there was an aneurysm that they say is there. I believe God is going to dissipate it. I don't know how he's going to do it, but I believe he's going to do it. Probably would have never guessed that. Would you guys have thought that? Would you guys have thought that, I had a chronic illness that incapacitates people, or that I'd had many strokes that prevented me from moving, or at one point I couldn't even speak. My words came out garbled because of those many strokes, or that, there was anything going on with my brain other than brilliance? Like, would you have thought that? Like, drop it in the comment. Would you have thought that, you guys? Would you have thought the way I show up that there would be some major health challenges that I faced or that I was facing at all? Would you have thought that? Let me know. Put it in the chat. Let me know in the chat if you would have thought that. If you did, like, that's fine. But like, let me know in the chat. If looking at me, you would have known that all of these things had happened or all of these things were going on in my life. Let me know in the chat. Okay. Now, let me tell you why I'm telling you this. I'm real tired of people making all of these freaking excuses for why they can't change their life. Sick of it. If you want change, if you really want change, then you do what's necessary to get that change. The problem is, this is the problem, and it's simple. The problem is, people want change, but they don't want inconvenience. Oh, this is going to inconvenience me. I don't care about the inconvenience. I'd rather have inconvenience now for the promise than to simply accept the problem as my reality. That's not my reality. That's not my life. That's not my portion. I know what my life is. I've seen it. I know what the promise is. I've gotten a glimpse of it. God showed it to me. And if God showed it to me, like, I'm going after it full steam ahead. And no mini strokes, TIAs, fibromyalgia, aneurysms, people, relationships, jobs, emotions, fear. Like, none of those things are going to stop me. It's because I choose the promise. I choose it. Today, you have some choices to make. You can continue doing what you're doing with the people that you're doing it with, getting the results that you're getting. Or you can choose change. Choosing change, I'm not going to tell you it's easy, but it's necessary. It's a decision, it's action, it's doing what you've got to do. One thing about me, I always bounce back. I always bounce back. Call me a basketball because my bounce is that serious. I always bounce back. My bounce game, strong. I always bounce back. So you never have to worry. Something's going to happen that takes Dr. V all the way out. It might knock me down. I might shed a tear. It might create a temporary pause or disruption, but it will not be permanent. My bounce back game is way too strong for that. I encourage you to get some bounce back. I encourage you to get some resilience. I encourage you to take control of your life, your destiny, your purpose, and what it is that God has promised you. Y'all running around here talking about you want change, you want change, you want change, but you're not doing nothing. You don't want change then. Stop saying that. You're saying it because it sounds good? No, if you want change, create it. Change isn't handed to you. It's something that you make. You make a change. Michael Jackson said, make that change. That's what you need to do. Make that change. Watch what God does. I've made some major decisions over the past week. I regret not one of them. Has it been uncomfortable? Yes. Was it difficult? Absolutely. Did it hurt? Definitely. Was it necessary? Yes. Will I bounce back? Most definitely. like a basketball, like a basketball goal, like a basketball in the hands of an NBA player in the playoff game, going for the dunk. One bounce, slam. Got to do it. That's right, Quincy. Do it today. So if you're someone that you're in a place where you know God has shown you that you're going to have wealth, but you don't have a vehicle to create that wealth, then you need to get with me. Let's figure it out. If you're someone that's struggling with your health, you got extra weight, your energy is low, like you need to get with me. Let's make a change. Change is necessary. But you got to be uncomfortable to get change. Listen, someone asked me about my waist trainer, about why I wore a waist trainer. I don't wear a waist trainer to get this teeny tiny waist. I wear a waist trainer because I have abdominal distension that happens. And what the waist trainer does is it helps to train my stomach to stay flat. If you guys go back and look at my pictures, you'll see my stomach, like it's really huge, like at the top. And I believe some of it came from when I had a hernia and they repaired the hernia. Like it just was some stuff that got shifted around because I used to not have that issue, but I have it now. So I put the waist trainer on, and the waist trainer is uncomfortable. It's tight. And there was a time when it was even tighter. And then I'm able to pull the band over to tighten it, right? To flatten out my stomach so that my stomach can learn how to stay right there. My muscles can build and strengthen. Now, listen, fully aware that there are challenges with waist trainers and that people use them in ways that are not the healthiest. But I'm also very aware that the science behind waist trainers existed before there were waist trainers. You know, when they existed, when those Black mamas took those women that had those babies and they took the cloth and the sheets and strips and they wrapped it around them and wrapped it real tight so that their stomach could go back down. They understood the science behind it, even when there was no waist trainer. That's why I'm telling y'all, we've always been innovators. We've always been entrepreneurs. Someone took that same principle and that same concept. They used the same binding concept, right? And they used that to create the concept of the waist trainer. Back in the day, it was the Body Magic. Y'all remember the Body Magic? Body Magic had people fooled out here in these streets, right? But it also began to help form people's bodies, right? Help form their waist, to give them a waist, to begin to pull stuff in and shrink it and move it around and everything. You all listen, it's not that I want the waist trainer to create a miracle. It's not that I'm trying to trick anyone. It's the fact that I need the assistance and that discomfort to help my muscles understand that you need to tighten up. Tighten up. Okay? So don't be afraid of discomfort. Discomfort creates change. So that now when I look at the waist trainer, when I have it on, it's tighter than it was. My waist is more defined than it was. Now, when I take it off, does it look exactly like that? No, it doesn't. But I definitely have a waist now when I didn't. You understand what I'm saying? So if you want change, then be willing to be uncomfortable to get the change. Do what you got to do to get the change. Like move the way you need to move to get the change and watch the change show up. So whether we're talking about your health or whether we're talking about your wealth, if you're ready to make a change and you're looking to make a change with someone who knows what it's like to go through change, who knows how to coach you in your change and through your change, then you definitely want to get with me, because listen, time is of the essence and you don't want to miss it because you were watching. You don't want to miss it because you tried this and it didn't work, or you tried that and it doesn't work. I'm living proof. The system works, whether we're talking about the health side or whether we're talking about the financial side. It works, right? And so it's up to you to make a decision to create change and do it. Whatever in your life needs to change, change it. And if you're not going to change it, don't talk about it. Just stop. Just stop. Just every time you get ready to talk about it, just say, I'm not getting ready to do anything, so let me not. It's like someone asking you, would you want to know? They asked this on the Love and Marriage Huntsville reunion. They asked, would you want to know right now today, if there was proof that your husband cheated, would you want that information today? Listen, Some of y'all need to stop asking questions because you don't want the information because you're not going to do nothing with the information, but be mad. But you're not going to change nothing. Leave it alone. If you're not going to do anything with information, stop trying to get it. At the end of the day, this is your life. You got to make a decision. You got to make a choice, and you got to move. Move in a way that moves you forward into destiny, purpose, and the promises of God. I love you guys to life and life more abundant. Be blessed.